right, good morning. Let me know if you guys got that alert for the stream today. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know. I think you might be right about the time. It looks like it still says scheduled, so it looks like it's still not going to let people know about it, but oh well. Maybe I have to start saying it starts an hour earlier. I'm going to say it starts at 7 a.m. Oh well. You got the alert? All right. Cool. Very good. So we're good to go. All right. Good morning, guys. So, yesterday we got signs of some drama on the oil prices, as we talked about, but we didn't quite get the follow through that I was sort of hoping for. It might not be that time yet, but it's definitely interesting. I'm still very, very focused on what's going on here with oil. We're still getting some drama there. You guys saw the inverse correlation yesterday. We got, oil prices dropping, and at the same time we started to see equities rise. So we can definitely see that inverse correlation. It's there, but it's just not. It's not as good as I wanted it yesterday. I had some CVX puts. They did okay. They went up, they went down, they went up, they went down, and now they're obviously a little bit higher this morning. So I'm just not sure on that play. I'm still holding it, keeping it small. I don't know for sure if that's going to work out, but that's something that I'm definitely focused on. I want to see if I can catch this slip, but this morning it looks like it's finding some support again, and you're getting more news this morning that Russia-Ukraine tensions are still high, and it's just not quite working out as I maybe thought. So we'll see. This might take longer than I originally thought, but that is something I'm still focused on. Congrats if anyone caught any of that yesterday. We did get some midday slippage on oil. I'll show you guys today. We got that big slip because of there was news about the UAE potentially, talking about oil reserves, releasing oil reserves. So we'll see what happens. That's one thing I want to watch. Then we have the Amazon stock split that happened last night, and that was very interesting. So we did get a big pop on Amazon. Does this Amazon gap up fade like the rest? I don't know. That's going to be interesting to watch. Can we play Amazon puts today on a little bit of a fade? That's something that I think is not, I wouldn't do that right out of the gates. I would maybe wait a little bit to see if that actually starts to occur. But that is a potentially interesting move. Low volume yesterday, Mick. Definitely agree. Saw that. So does Amazon, is that a nice little gap fill play to the downside? We'll see today. That could be very, very profitable if it actually works out. But we'll have to see the resiliency on that stock. Other than that, we're just going to have to keep an eye on some more names. I'm starting to think that maybe if this market does start to slip again, we'll see what today does. Is it time to get back into some of those puts on some of those weak stocks like Roku, like Square, like Etsy, like SE? Is it potentially time to maybe get back into those? That's something I'm thinking about. And then, CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike had really good earnings last night. Big push higher. It looks like it's right there at the expected move of around it had to be above 190. So it's right there. It's like right on the line. So I think as long as you open above 190, if any of you guys had calls on CrowdStrike, you should be okay. That is something that I would be watching out for. So we'll talk about all that today. We'll look at it. What about oil? I just talked about oil. So we'll look at all that today and get ready for the day. So here we go. Futures, economic earnings calendar today, just jobless claims as always on Thursday. We'll pull it up again. As always, we'll pull it up every day just to make sure we're all aware of what's going on. So I don't want to pay you. There we go. All right, so jobless claims today and CPI data today. Maybe I should have put the title as CPI data. Maybe more people would have came in. Should I change it? Should I change the title? Should we see if more people come? Let's see. What should I do? CPI. Last time I did this, it was CPI data live. Let's see if it works. All right. It's now called CPI data live. Last time we did this, all the Meet Kevin fans joined. All right, let's see if it changes. So let me know if it changes for you, but I did change it. Jobless claims 8:30. CPI data at 8:30. So very interesting. We'll see what happens, guys, in about 24 minutes. And right there, sorry, couldn't see it. There you go. So that's today. That's going to be very interesting. And then after that, next Wednesday, we all know this, Fed's fund rate next Wednesday, big time stuff there. So that's that. Earnings calendar. We had CrowdStrike yesterday. I don't think we have much today. Actually, you know what? We do have some stuff, so it's worth looking at. CPI data, welcome me, Kevin. DocuSign, Blink, Rivian, Oracle, all this good stuff here, guys. Pretty decent ones today. Keep an eye on some of those. JD, is that why Bob is down today? Bob is on my list. Yeah, I wonder if that's why Bob is down this morning. So we got a little bit of a drop on JD from earnings. This could be a nice downside play. This thing is just going to continue lower. So you got, that's a big level. It's sort of slipping under 2, isn't it? Yeah, JD might be worth watching, guys. I just sort of realized that. But yeah, you can see JD moving lower on earnings. You guys can see big gap down on earnings. That is definitely going to be on my watch list. And then you can see BABA this morning. Look at this. This is enough. Yeah, so we're going to talk about BABA later at the end of the stream. And we'll look at JD as well, because this could be interesting stuff here. So definitely worth watching. Let's keep an eye on BABA and JD. We'll take a look at that towards the end of the stream. So that's economic and earnings calendar / CL slip. So we'll talk about oil, XLE, some of the stocks, CVX, XOM, Amazon stock split, short Roku again. Interesting. The Colts here. Shout out to the Colt. Shout out Josh. Love that guy. Short Roku again. Interesting. Is it time to maybe get back into that? We'll see. We're going to have to see how the market reacts today. One thing I want to make everyone aware of today, everything's going to change potentially here at CPI data time. CPI data time. Hold on, guys. Let me pull it up for a second. Everything we talk about today could be totally contingent on what CPI data says, right? So please understand that about the stock market in general. Please understand that about any time you approach the market. You need to understand this, right? I could talk about what levels look good in the next 20 minutes, and the CPI data could change all of that. So we need to be very not in one way, not in one direction today. I'm trying to get the words out of my mouth. We can't look in just one direction today. We have to wait until the CPI data comes out and then get a feel for what the market is wanting. Get a feel for what the market, if it likes it, if it doesn't like it, that's what we need to wait for. So we'll talk about some stuff, but make sure you guys understand at 8:30 things might change a little bit here. So Roku, maybe if market's weak again, I like Roku for a short again, but we need to see if the market does start to move lower again. Tesla double top yesterday at 860. That's very important. Coin gap fill. We saw a big gap up on Coin and all the other Bitcoin stocks. Coin, Mara, Riot, MicroStrategy. Maybe there's a gap fill play there. We'll have to see how that reacts today and how Bitcoin sort of does over the next few days. Got to be fluid. Correct, Nicholas. I like that. Unbiased, fluid, flexible, cautious. I like all those. So yeah, that's the words I'm trying to say. XLF. So yesterday, financials had a little bit of push. Not sure if this was just off the back of maybe some anticipation of rates, but we did get a little bit of a bounce on XLF. Not quite holding up today, though, so I'm not too confident on that. XLF has been a tough sector, man. XLF has just not been a good place to park your money. It's just been a tough sector to really read. Continues to be that way, in my opinion. Boeing. Boeing is at that. I know everyone loves to watch Boeing and that channel that it's made for the last year, 2 years. But you guys can see, we'll look at it. Boeing is at the bottom of that channel, maybe find support. Yes, CPI data is at 8:30. We're going to look at it when it comes out. Bob a downside with JD. That's also what I'd be watching. So these are some things we're going to talk about today. Let's go ahead and jump into it so that we can get some of it done before CPI data comes out, and then we'll take another look at everything. So here we go, guys. Nasdaq. What did the Nasdaq do yesterday? It did push. Nice 4% upside day on Nasdaq, sort of giving some of it up in the pre-market. Where are we holding? You guys know where we're holding, right? We're holding at this previous low. We held it again yesterday. You can see previous low here, low again, low again. So 13,000 is that big level, right? So 13,000 pushed higher. And then what did we do yesterday? We pushed higher into a previous support that maybe is turning into resistance here. Now, what did I just say, right? This could be totally irrelevant based off of CPI data, right? This technical formation here, which looks very clear for a rejection. I mean, it's literally textbooks rejections here. Support, turns into resistance, turns into resistance. This is literally textbook rejection points. So if there wasn't CPI data today, I would be very interested in looking for the rejection. However, in about 15 minutes, this could very easily go either direction, right? So we need to wait for that. We absolutely need to wait for that to make a real decision here. But I will tell you, you have pretty major support to the downside here around 13,000. If that breaks, you guys know what's going to happen. And to the upside, we have a very strong resistance level, which we pushed into yesterday intraday. Right here, you guys can see we sort of slid into that level. Very choppy price action yesterday to the upside, a very slow grind higher off of very low volume, right into a previous resistance point. And we can see it right here. So my first thought process, if there wasn't CPI data, would be major rejection point and potential downside here, back to maybe 13.2s. But as you guys know, as I talked about, right, we have to wait for the data to come out. European Central Bank surprises markets with plan to wind down stimulus sooner than planned. Interesting. That just came out from CNBC. The ECB surprises markets with plan to wind down stimulus sooner than planned. Okay. So that's NASDAQ. That's a very clear rejection, guys. That's the level we need to be watching. We'll check back in on this after CPI data comes out. All right, the ES. ES is right back below 42.50. It did pop above it yesterday, which is a little bit interesting. The ES is a little bit sloppy here, if I'm going to be honest. But where did the ES sort of reject? We rejected right near the lows of these candles, right? Pretty major level. If you sort of put a zone here at the previous levels, you can see right here, previous support. You can see that big time support levels. Where is it rejecting this morning? Look at that right there. It's textbook stuff, right? So, I mean, I still, I can't say anything with too much certainty this morning. That's why I'm having trouble, because in about 10 minutes, things can change. But this is clearly still a very weak market. It is clearly still on the bearish side. It is clearly making lower highs, potentially lower lows. The rejections are still coming in very strong. And the one thing you need to realize about this market is for stocks and indices to get through these resistance levels, it's going to take major momentum and major strength, because it's just not a normal day with this type of volume. Look at that type of volume. A normal trading day, a crappy trading day with this type of volume down here is not enough for us to get through rejection points. That's just basically us sort of melting up into rejection points and then coming back down. So rejection point huge here at 4280, 4300 on the ES. I would just call it 4300. You need to get through that or we're going to reject again. It's very obvious. It's very clear. Look at this. Support, rejection. Support, resistance. Very obvious. Very clear. So if you guys took anything off that 4300 yesterday, very nice. Congratulations. That was a great play. Comes across hazy. Try to turn the video quality to 1080. It might be your video quality. Okay, let's go to the Dow. Let me know if it looks okay, guys. I mean, I think I'm streaming in high quality. If it's not, I apologize. Okay, next one here, the Dow. And it's downtrend, right? Just downtrend after downtrend, lower highs. And we rejected right here at these previous lows, right in this area. You guys can see right here, previous support, previous support, previous support. And where did we reject yesterday? Look at that, guys. Perfect rejection. Right there. Right there. Perfect rejection. Right at 33,500. So you guys can see the reoccurring theme. I don't need to continue putting this down. It's the reoccurring theme. We all know it. It's lower highs, lower lows, rejections at previous support. Another rejection came in there at 33.5. So 33.5 on the Dow, 3,300 on the ES, right? And on the Nasdaq, it's right around there, around 13.8. So let's see. That's right now. Let's see what happens in about 15 minutes. If these things change, we'll pop back onto the futures. But right now, those are the levels that I would be focused on. All right, let's get into the CL. Let's get into the oil. So guys, this is oil. This is the 4-hour time frame. We can see we started to get a little bit of a crack in the foundation, right? The other day we gapped up. We came back. We held that gap as support. We started to push higher again. Now, yesterday, as we talked about, there was more news about potentially, oil reserves coming out. We got the big thing that happened was we got the UAE involved. That's interesting. That's definitely, those are the big boys of oil, right? If the UAE reserves come out, then that means they're serious. Now, I don't know if that's happening. They didn't confirm that, but there was just some talks about it. So we got that and we saw the reaction, right? We saw the immediate reaction. If you go to the 1-minute chart, this is your reaction intraday. If you weren't watching the oil prices intraday, here is your immediate reaction to that news. Look at this. Boom. I mean, this dropped 10% in about 15 minutes, right? So that's huge. We didn't quite continue. We started to sort of move higher and started to just sort of grind higher. And after that 10% drop, we started to just sort of slide. Now, we'll see what happens, right? This might be a longer than expected type of slip on this oil price, but I definitely start to see some cracks happening here, right? It's not just just a rocket ship to the upside. So I'm still interested here. Do we start to see this cool off? What am I watching today? I am watching for this 116 level to reject on oil. Right where that previous gap was, right around this 116. Why am I looking for that? Because this was previous resistance, turned into support, and then if this comes back up today, I would want to see if this can reject off this level, right? That's what I'm watching. Now, of course, as we know with oil prices, I am less trustworthy. You cannot be 100% focused on technicals on something like oil futures. Oil futures are driven by macroeconomic events more than anything. So, we can say, hey, this looks like a good rejection point at 116, but if they say, things, if there's positive news about, things that will help oil prices increase come out, macroeconomic news, that doesn't matter. 116 means nothing. If they say oil reserves are not coming out and we're keeping it locked down, and there's going to be less supply, this is absolutely going to shoot up through 116, right? So technicals don't mean the world on very high macroeconomic commodity type moves. So let's just keep an eye on 116. Let's keep an eye on oil today, guys. If I'll show you the direct correlation that I'm talking about, right? So here's the Nasdaq yesterday, guys. And what time did the /CL start to slip? This was right around 12:30. Started around 12:27 to 12:30. So let's go to the Nasdaq at 12:27, around 12:30. So here you go, guys. Look at this. Right here, when oil started to drop, this is the Nasdaq, 12:27, right around to 12:40. This move right here on the Nasdaq, this big pop intraday. Why did that happen? That happened solely because of this. So just keep an eye on that inverse correlation, guys. If you want to get an idea of why the market is moving higher or why it's moving lower, you might want to keep an eye on the /CL. All right. So obviously with the /CL, you're going to get movements on XLE. So you can see XLE started to slip yesterday and is now recovering. So keep an eye on XLE. That is another thing that I would watch with the oil prices. I still believe that XLE should come back down to around this $70 level for a little bit of a retest, but that's not going to, technicals again are not king here on this type of move. CVX, I think this is overvalued. Obviously, I'm looking for, this to come back lower, but that's obviously dependent on oil prices and the energy strength. It does look like it's finding some nice support around this 162, so I'm not too confident on it right now. But let's see what happens with oil prices today. CVX, you can play XOM to the upside if you think it goes up, or to the downside if you think it goes down. You could play USO. USO dropped huge yesterday off the back of those decreasing oil prices, around 15%. That's another one you can sort of keep an eye out for if you want to play this. So just keeping you updated on this whole energy stuff, guys. Want to make sure you guys are aware of it. It's good to stay in tune with it. It's a very important and it's something that's really driving this market right now, believe it or not. All right, Amazon. So we got the push on Amazon, but look at where it pushed into. I mean, it pushed right into this resistance here, and it didn't even get over 3,000 really. So I don't know, man. Is this gonna fade? Is this going to fade? It sort of looks like it wants to. So we pushed into this 3,080 area, quickly rejected off previous resistance, and now we're just sort of slipping here. So if we do fade, I would say maybe 2,800. Maybe you find a little bit of support around this 2,880. But, let's keep an eye on this today, guys. You have the gap on the chart, which isn't going to show up here yet. There's going to be a gap here today. Once the market opens, there's going to be a gap up to around, it should be up to around wherever we open. So right around 2,900, maybe right around here. So there will be sort of a gap to fill below once the market opens today on the daily chart. So let's keep an eye on Amazon today. Let's see if this thing rejects, because it pushed right into this level on the daily chart. It pushed right into this level right here. And it rejected, right? It's starting to reject right off this level, which is a big level. So watch that today. 3,080 rejection on the gap fill news, or on the stock split news. See if there is a gap fill there. Roku. So interesting rejection coming in on Roku, guys. We caught this big time rejection here around 145, but there's a little bit of a short-term rejection that's starting to happen here, and I want to show you it because it looks very similar to this move, but in a shorter-term time frame. Look at this. Look at this. Previous support. We did drop below it. We're coming right back into it. So, is this another type of previous support into resistance downside play on Roku? You can see it. It's just, perfect little curl to the upside, back into support, and a really nasty rejection, if I must say so myself. Look at this. just not able to get above this level here, right around this 120. Look at that rejection intraday yesterday. So this is interesting to me. I'm definitely going to be watching it today. Can I catch some Roku downside off this 120 rejection? That is going to be something I am watching here today. So just want to quickly show you that. Here you go. Support, support, resistance, support into resistance, 120. Could be very nice. Tesla, 860. Look at this rejection, man. This is tough. This is tough. It's tough here. I was watching Tesla yesterday and I couldn't trust it for the life of me. I couldn't do it. I know it moved higher, but look at the price action. I just hate trading these days. I hate it. These days, look at these candles, man. I can't deal with these types of days. I stepped away. I took one trade yesterday on AMD and made $11. That was my entire day. Just not a day that I wanted to mess around with. Low volume grinds to the upside. Look at this volume on Tesla. It's not even there. I hate trading in low volume melts to the upside. I'd rather walk away, save my money, because it just wasn't quite there. You go up, you go back down, you go up, you go back down. It's a lot of choppiness. We did sort of grind higher, which is nice for the long term, right? For shares, I don't mind these days for shares because it doesn't really matter to me. Just as long as it goes higher, I'm happy. So it was good for the long term yesterday. Not good for options in my opinion. But look at where we're coming into, right? We're right back into that 20 SMA. And is this a beautiful rejection taking place? Maybe. Is this a beautiful rejection taking place? I'm definitely interested. So right here at 860, you got that 20 SMA on the daily chart. You got this 860 level here. That was a previous resistance right up in here. You can sort of see it sort of a little higher, but it's right there. It's at the same level, pretty much 864, but the body of the candles is right around 860. Perfect rejection around this 860. This sort of dates back to back here, which was previous support. You guys can see previous support right in this area, which is turning into resistance. This looks like to me like a previous support into resistance, and maybe a rejection. So I'm definitely interested here on Tesla to the downside, especially if CPI gives us a little bit of a nudge to the downside on the tech market. I will definitely be watching Tesla today for maybe a move into that 830, 820 area if we reject off 860 again. So that's that. Watch that 860, guys. That's a major, major level. Please do not scalp Tesla calls into 860. That's a very difficult level. Make sure you're aware of it. All right, one last one before we get into the CPI data. A lot of gaps on the Coinbase chart, right? You have Coinbase gap up here on Wednesday, yesterday, and then you have a gap down today. So a lot of gaps here on the Coinbase chart, and I think there's opportunity here. We just got to catch it right. So I am watching a drop below 170 for downside and maybe a push over 173, 172 for maybe an upside. But I would be more tempted to catch this 170 drop and catch this gap fill back down to 163. There is a major, major gap fill here on Coinbase. If we get weakness on Bitcoin, I am 100% interested in looking to see if I can catch this 170 drop and the gap fill back down towards around 163. So watch this on Coinbase, guys. A lot of crappy price action here. Any weakness on Bitcoin, any weakness on the overall market, and I think you see that slip through this 170 into the gap fill, and then maybe you can catch some of this. But if you trade Coinbase, guys, you got to keep Bitcoin on your charts because there's a big correlation here on Bitcoin versus Coinbase. So if you start taking puts and you see something is reacting and Bitcoin starting to pop, you better get out of this because it's correlated to it. So just keep that in mind if you do get into something like this. All right, so that's the last one. After we see CPI, I will jump into, let's just pull up the Nasdaq. Actually, you know what? Let's pull up SPY because most of the time that has the news on it. So let's see, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get live news popped up. Let me know if you guys see anything. I'll try to get it as soon as I can. Okay, you're getting an initial pop to the upside. Let's see if that holds. All right, here we go. CPI month over month, 0.5 versus 0.5. Wow. All right, so it met expectations. Year over year, 6.4 versus 5.9. That doesn't matter. Year over year makes no difference. I mean, it does, but we all know year over year's higher. It's expected. All the month over months are flat. That's funny. All the month over months are flat. That is funny. Oh, wow. Year over year for February is the flat as well. Yeah, guys, that's pretty good. I mean, as long as it's as expected, I don't expect this market to drop or do anything crazy. We might not do anything off this. This might just be a non-event. We'll see. Everything month over month is pretty important, guys. Why is month over month important? Well, if you're from a corporate background, you know why month over month is important, right? Month over month is important to see short-term trends. You need to see the short-term trend. Year over year is good, but it's not as important when you have an anomaly year, right? If you have an anomaly year over year is it's just a useless metric. I dealt with this in my corporate job, right? Because the virus came around and we were down substantially year over year, but you can't read that. You can't say, oh, we're down 80% year over year. Yeah, of course you are. It doesn't matter because it's anomaly. There's an anomaly there. You got to focus on the month over month, and I think that's what the market is mostly reacting off of, month over month. Ed, you have to understand that inflation is priced into this market. Inflation is known to be here, guys. People just do not. You guys have to understand these concepts. The market prices in inflation. The market knows inflation is here. All right? It's not a random thing that's occurring. If the market's pricing in inflation and inflation comes in as expected, it is not a bad thing for the market. The market has been falling for the last 5 months because it knows inflation is here. It doesn't just randomly react negatively because there is inflation still. That is priced into the market. You guys need to understand this. This is something that is crucial to understand. Market has priced in higher inflation over the last 4 or 5 months. If it comes in as expected, that is taken as a positive. If the numbers were higher than expected today, then it would come in as a negative. Okay. You have to understand that. That's why you're getting a push to the upside right now, which I don't know is sustainable, but that's why the initial reaction is to the upside. All right, so CPI data, guys. Inflation rose. Of course. This is a misleading headline. This is a totally misleading headline from CNBC. Inflation rose 7.9% in February, more than expected. However, when I go to the data on Thinkorswim, 7.9 was the expectation, right? 7.9 was the expectation on Bazinga, on Newswire, right? 7.9 versus 7.9. That's expected, and then you get CNBC with the misleading headline, more than expected. So it just, this is just classic. Who do you trust, right? So on Thinkorswim, it says 7.9 versus 7.9, which is the expected inflation number or expected CPI data number, 7.9 versus 7.9. And then you get CNBC with the more than expected keyword here. So that's interesting. So here you go. Month over month, 5. You guys probably can't see this. I'm sorry. The text on Thinkorswim is very small. 0.5 versus 0.5 month over month for February. Core CPI 6.4 versus 5.9, so a little bit higher there. CPI month over month 0.8 versus 0.8, so as expected. And CPI year over year 7.9 versus 7.9. So that's why the initial reaction's here, guys. That's why you're getting a little bit of a move. I believe this will be a non-event. if CPI comes in as expected, I don't think you see much reaction off of it, and I sort of think that's what you're really not getting much here. This is really nothing, guys. I mean, it's a little something, but it's not. If you zoom out, you can't look at the chart like this, right? Don't look at the chart like this, guys. You got to look at it like this. Yes, guys, I understand. You know, the inflation number for the economy is not good. You guys gotta split apart the economy and the stock market. The stock market and the economy do not always trade in unison. Something that you can read, and I'm not just talking BS here. You can go read about that. The stock market and the economy are not always trading in unison. Similar to what you saw in the stock market in 2020. You saw the stock market going straight up while the economy was on, the verge of a total meltdown with the virus, right? So yes, high inflation is not good for the economy potentially, but if the inflation numbers are staying consistent with what's expected, the market's going to be okay with that. That's something you need to sort of keep apart. That's why you're seeing this reaction, because the market's pricing in higher inflation. If the higher inflation is what's expected, the market's going to be okay with it, right? If it comes in higher than what's expected, that's when you get the big meltdowns. So we'll see what happens. You got to sort of think like that. I understand that inflation's high and it's not good, but maybe the market can still sort of hold up if it's pricing that in. All right, XLF. Let's continue. XLF. You guys can see. Let's see if everyone. Everyone's got to just relax and see how this moves out. But right now, you're seeing basically a non-event, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. In my opinion, this is a non-event. It's as expected, and I don't expect there to be much of a move at all here. We'll see. I mean, you're up, you're down, you're going to be volatile. Let's see where it ends up. But if it's as expected, I would not expect much. That's my first thought. All right. XLF, we did get a push higher, but you're sort of slipping again today. I'm just not loving this sector. I would stay far away from it. It's going to be interesting. I mean, everyone thought, about 4 months ago that the financial sector was going to heat up like crazy because of higher interest rates. And maybe that still is possible. Maybe we see a reaction to this on Wednesday. Let's say on Wednesday, the Fed comes out and hikes 0.5. So higher than expected inflation. Yes, if it's higher than expected, if anything's higher than expected, then you should always expect downside. If the market is pricing in something and something comes in larger. So for example, here's another example for you guys. The market is most likely pricing in a 0.25%, a 0.25 hike on the Fed funds rate. That's most likely, I think, what's being priced into this market. If the Fed comes out on Wednesday of next week and says they're going to hike 0.5, I guarantee you, can't say that word because you never want to guarantee someone anything in the stock market, but I would believe that there would be a large negative reaction to 0.5 from the Fed funds because I think 0.25 is what's expected. So that's my feeling. If you come in at 0, if the Feds don't increase interest rates, which would be shocking, then I think you get a positive reaction to the upside. So I think the expected right now is around 0.25. And if it comes in as expected, I would expect there to be no reaction because that is what's priced into the market. So if something comes in higher than what's priced in, then I think you get downside. If it comes in lower than what's priced in, I think you get upside. If it comes in as expected, I think it's a non-event. So let's see. That's another example that we got to look forward to next week. So XLF, let's keep an eye on this. Maybe next week this gets a little bit more interesting when the Feds, the rates start to, you start to get some decisions on rates. Maybe there's a little bit more reaction here on XLF. Maybe this is a little bit of a sleeping opportunity to keep an eye out for. Okay? Recession coming, guys. It's not worth your time to try to guess when a recession is coming. Is it really worth your time and your anger and just live your life, trade stocks, find opportunities. If the recession comes, it comes. I'm just not someone that tries to forecast future events, guys. I think it's a zero sum game to try to forecast future events. I just don't understand why people do it. So that's just me. That's me personally. You may not agree with that, but everyone has different personalities. If you come to my channel, I am not someone that tries to forecast major events into the future. I do what's in front of me, and I try to take opportunities when I see them, but I do not try to put a hypothesis around why the economy is going to zero and everything's going to crap, right? That's just not, I'm not willing to live like that. So that's not my style. All right, anyways, Boeing, you guys can see this channel, right? We've been in this channel for a very, very long time. It's an untapped market. I mean, if you guys are Nostradamus, if you guys want to, find someone that can, see the future, sure. I mean, let me know. I'll pay top dollar for them. But yeah, it's just not a job that I'm very interested in. So boom, 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 right? You have the support here at the bottom of this channel on Boeing. Is it time to play this back to the upside? I mean, if I just closed my eyes and thought about the technicals for a second, I would say yes, right? If I just closed my eyes on everything else going on and I just said, look at the technicals here, is it time to play Boeing to the upside? I would absolutely say yes. Because what has it done every other time that it's came back to this channel? It has gone up, right? It has gone up. It has gone up. It can only me, Kevin, can time the market. It has gone up. It has gone up. And maybe, okay, what's going on here? Very nice. All right, and maybe it goes up again, right? So if I look at technicals, that's what I would be looking for, guys. We'll see what happens. Let's see if the market can be strong. Maybe this CPI data is maybe a little bit of opportunity here. Off of maybe you get some strength here. Let's see, what's the Dow doing today right now? I mean, it's a non-event, guys, as expected. We're just not really going anywhere. We're right back to where we started here. Yeah. So, I mean, if you do get some positivity today on the Dow, I would maybe look to see if you can play this Boeing. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how every time you come down to this channel, you find support. So I'd keep an eye on it. I would absolutely keep an eye on it. Just watch these lows right in this area. 185s, 190s. Keep an eye on that area. Joshua. So keep an eye on that. BA, channel low. All right. Baba and JD. What's JD up to right now? Are we starting to move lower still? Yeah, JD is getting crushed here off of earnings, guys. Chinese company. I don't think there's any love for the Chinese companies right now. I could totally see why they just get sold off. I don't see why there would be any interest in investing in these names. This is a major breakdown here. It came into support. It came back into a previous resistance level. I'm sorry. It came back into a support level and rejected. And if I zoom out on this, on the daily chart, actually, you know what? Let's go weekly. Look at this, guys. This stock is still propped up on hopes and dreams, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is potentially still propped up on hopes and dreams here. I would be very interested here. Where are we at? We're at 56. We're right around here. And we are deep under that support, right? And there is not much to the left of this chart. If I was to pull up the volume profile and apply it to this chart, you guys will see. Look at the volume profile. Look at the lack of support in this area until around $40 a share. Is there opportunity between right around, let's say, 56, around the lows of right now, and down into the 40s? I absolutely believe so. I absolutely believe so. Right in this area where there's a lack of volume, there's a lack of support, it's very clear. The stock went straight up. So, do we get this? Do we get this move? I'm watching it today for sure. I'd definitely be interested in playing it. On top of everything, it's a Chinese stock, which is just not something that people are very fond of. The market's just not, it's not accepting these stocks. So watch that. Moving to the downside, I would watch JD today. And with the sympathy move, I would watch BABA. I can't even see enough time on the BABA's chart to get back to where we are. It's just crazy. I mean, BABA is just, it's sad, really. BABA is back down into 2016 levels, guys. 2016. It has lost 6 years. BABA has lost 6 years of investing of price action. 6 years. We're back into 2016 levels. 86 all-time low. I mean, that's probably not all-time low, but that's 15 years. Let's go max available. Is that all-time low? Holy crap. Could BABA go to all-time lows? That would be something. That would be something. Wow. So that's BABA. You guys can see maybe 86, all-time lows of 58, 59. That is crazy. That could be very interesting. I could see it. I could see it. Let's see what happens. But yeah, more downside on BABA this morning because of JD. Look at this, guys. If we drop below, here's some short-term levels for you. I think if you drop below this 95.57, right up in here. If you drop below this 95.57, watch out below today. Keep an eye on that. Last one before we get into the members, just want to show you guys CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike, it's been a sort of a tough stock recently. Let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit. So we're up to where? Where are we up to today? We're up to around 190. 190 is, yeah, guys, I'd be careful here still. I don't know. I don't like trading stocks that come right into these levels. Just be careful, guys. This earnings move is really nothing crazy. It's right into here. I mean, you have this level to be aware of. This is a major resistance level. You have some major resistance up here around 210. Yeah, just be careful here, guys. You got a lot of resistance above. 190, huge resistance. 210, huge resistance. So please just be careful, guys, of CrowdStrike. I know it had good earnings. It's going to take a lot to get through these levels. So just be aware of it on the daily chart. That is the volume profile. The volume profile. You go to Thinkorswim, you type in volume profile, it'll pop up for you. All right. Let's go to what the members want to look at, and then we're getting out of here. We're heading over to the chat, and we're going to continue our day there. All right. So we looked at JD. I can take that off. All right. Let's look at AMD for us here. AMD, you got a little bit of a push off 100, guys, but I'm just not. I'm not so confident on where this moves. It's a very difficult chart. This chart is very sloppy, right? It's just a sloppy chart. There's just nothing sort of in this area, right? You have previous highs here, which are pretty difficult. You have some highs in the 112s. You have the 20 SMA. It's just a very sloppy chart. There's no levels to really play off of here, which makes it very difficult for me to trust anything. The one level that I would maybe trust is the previous lows here that could turn into resistance. Support, resistance, and resistance. So I'd watch 112 right up in here as resistance. If not, you just watch some of these short-term levels, but it's just sloppy, guys. There's no real, there's no real levels that I'm very trustworthy of here. So I'm staying away from this. I don't really like it. This is a difficult area to be trading it. The big level I would watch is 100. $100. It has to hold that. Until that, I would just sort of watch this downtrend maybe. And inside here, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess inside this area. Inside the downside channel and the support, it's just going to be difficult to trade. The Discord is down in the description below. DocuSign. tough stock, man. It's just not something that the market likes in a non-stay-at-home environment as much as it once was. You guys can see it is coming right back to this 92, which is most likely where it's going to find support. That's a very big level there. It filled that entire move, right? The virtually straight up move that it had no business doing, it came right back down and filled it. So, yeah, you're right back to it. Maybe you hold here at 92. If not, watch out to these 71s, 43s. But, I would maybe look to see if it holds this previous high here. Back from pre-COVID, guys. Pre-virus. This is pre-virus levels right here. Right? So you basically just gave up all of the virus move. That's it. So you are back to fair valuation pre-virus, right? That's where you're back to. Boom and boom. So this is going to happen on all of these stay-at-home names. Ford, we talked about this one, guys. We talked about how you got to be careful at these levels. You probably do remember that if you, I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But Ford was just a big momentum and hype type of move because of their EV stuff coming out. It came right into some humongous resistance. And if you don't think that people that owned Ford stock since 1999 were not maybe scaling out a little bit here at around 22, you'd be out of your mind. If I was in Ford since 1990, 1998, 1997, 1990, 2000, 2001, if I was in Ford back there, at the around $24 a share, and I see about 22 years later, Ford's back at my entry price, I'm taking my profits or I'm getting out of my stock. So if you don't think people were going to do that here, you're out of your mind. That's exactly what happened. It came up into those levels. People just unloaded the boat and it's moving back lower. So it's going to be very difficult for Ford to get through this 22, 23. There is millions of people here, right? I don't know about millions, but there's a lot of people here that will unload their shares if they start to become break even. Donuts and coffee on me. Thank you for the square gap close play. Got a $100 call and sold yesterday. Nice job. Nice job, AK. Well done, man. Nice job. All right, so that's Ford. You got to be careful up there. Huge levels. People are on. Look at this stock on UNH, man. Look at this stock. Look at this stock. Oh my God. That weekly chart's wild. I mean, UNH is just a great name. So UNH, I really missed this again, didn't I? I remember us talking about this. Why? This chart's already here. I remember us talking about this. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even need to redo anything on this chart. We missed it. It's missed, in my opinion. You watch out for this resistance here around 500. If it doesn't get through 500, be careful. 500, 510, but the opportunity's gone, guys. You got to buy down here, right? You got to buy down here. You don't buy up here. So this is where we should have bought. I was watching it. I just lost track of it, had other plays going, so I missed it. But yeah, I would not be someone to buy in the middle of this. I would either wait to see if it can actually get through 500 or try to get another bounce off 450. Guys, I know Amazon people. You in Discord all day? Yes, I am. I'm addicted to it. So NEE, new next Terra Energy. Guys, I would be just a little bit cautious. I think a lot of people are just buying stocks if it says energy in their name. I feel like maybe. I mean, I would just be a little bit cautious of that. This looks like a little bit of a pump on energy. I don't think energy names are going to last forever on this pump. This is a pump because of energy, the heat of energy. Just be a little bit cautious. If energy starts to slip, this is going to slip as well. There's huge resistance up here at 86. Just be careful following the trend of energy, all the hype around it. You might have missed it. Maybe not. But just be careful because, these trends, they don't last forever. I don't think you're going to be able... Like, I own shares of Chevron, right? I own shares of CVX. And I'm not very happy about that. I'm happy right now. The reason I'm not happy is because I know Chevron's not going to hold up forever, right? Chevron is not going to continue to do what it's been doing. So I know on my Chevron share, all right, it's just this, You can't spam the chat, man. I'm sorry, you're gonna get blocked. So see you later. What I'm upset about is that I own Chevron, which I'm happy about. It's good. I'm good right now, but I know it's gonna come back down. So it's tough. It's tough. I already did CrowdStrike. All right, last one, Caterpillar, and we're jumping out of here. If you guys want to do your tickers instead of spamming the chat, you can go ahead and support the channel. You can press the join button down below, and you get access to a Google Docs where you can put your tickers here. If you'd rather do that, because I'm not going to do the tickers that are spammed in the chat. I'm sorry. It's just not it's not how I roll. All right, so Caterpillar, it did really well recently. And it has a little bit of a hold here around this 100 SMA, right? And it's a stock that you would think does pretty well in this market environment. So there is definitely some things going for it. It's just, this is my problem, right? This is my problem right here, right? I just don't know. I don't know what happens in this type of environment. It's difficult because you have this channel of price action that is just very choppy. So you can maybe catch some upside, you maybe can catch some downside, but how do you guess what happens, or how do you predict or try to do analysis on Caterpillar? When it's sideways like this, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. So that's my problem with stocks that look like this, guys. If you see a stock that looks sort of like this, you either gotta, think macro and say, hey, I like Caterpillar long term. I'm taking something long term, and I like it for shares or like a leap because I think, Cat's a good long term name. Or you gotta say, hey, I think Caterpillar, is too weak and over time is gonna slip. I don't know, but right now you just can't gather anything from a chart that looks like this. It's just, to me personally, I think it's a waste of time. All right. That's it. Thank you guys so much. If you could take 1 second, press the like button, subscribe to the channel. We got 1,000 people in here, even to the end too, which is pretty incredible. So thank you guys for sticking around. I guess you guys sort of enjoyed your time. If you could just take a second, press the like button. I already looked at JD. So thank you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Come hang out in the chat if you'd like. What else? I think that's about it. Come check out the Options Insider merchandise down below. You get a discount code right now, 35% off. We have a few shirts left. And thank you. Thanks for everything. Thanks for being here. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.